November 21st, Booster 18's LOX tank catastrophically fails during testing. The entire vehicle is destroyed beyond recovery. SpaceX has to laser cut it apart piece by piece. Every major milestone for 2025 is now at risk. What could they possibly do to recover? Here's what happened next. Just 5 days later, the first section of Booster 19 rolls out of Star Factory. Then another section, and another. In just 9 days, every major component needed for a complete booster arrives at Gigabay 1. How did they pull this off? Let's dive right in. The timeline most people expected went something like this. Booster 18 explodes. SpaceX spends weeks analyzing the failure. Production slows down. Flight 12 gets pushed back to March or April 2026. That's how traditional aerospace works. But SpaceX isn't traditional aerospace. November 26th. 5 days after the explosion, the first section of Booster 19 exits Star Factory and rolls directly into Gigabay 1. No delays. No extended analysis period. Just immediate action. The next day, the Common Dome section follows. November 29th brings the A3 Call 4 section. December 2nd, another major component arrives. By December 4th, the A64 section in the bottom half of the transfer tube are already inside. Think about what this means. In 9 days, SpaceX moved every major section needed to build a complete super heavy booster. This process normally takes 1 to 3 months. They compressed it to 9 days. But moving parts is one thing. Actually stacking them together is something else entirely. And they did both simultaneously. By Christmas Eve, Booster 19 stood fully stacked inside Gigabay 1. SpaceX confirmed it with a photo showing the massive vehicle gleaming under the bay lights, complete with red covers on the lower section like Christmas ornations. The entire workforce had been pushed to an extreme pace. Why? Because every delay now threatens 3 critical milestones: reaching orbit with Block 3, catching a Starship with the tower, and attempting the first orbital refueling demonstration. Here's what most coverage misses. This isn't just about speed, it's about what this speed reveals. SpaceX has been quietly building production capabilities that we're only now seeing in action. The Booster 18 failure forced them to show their hand. Let's break down what happened with Ship 39, because the timeline here is equally revealing. Mid-August, the S-39 nose cone first rolled into Gigabay 2. 4 months later, on December 8th, spotters captured images of a completely different scene. Ship 39 stood fully stacked, heat shield almost entirely installed, dark and glossy. 4 months to build the largest rocket upper stage in the world, a completely new Block 3 variant with major design changes. NASA's SLS upper stage takes 2 to 4 years. SpaceX did it in 4 months. But there's a critical detail here that separates hope from reality. Ship 39 doesn't have its Raptor engines yet. It still needs hardware checkouts before rolling out to Massey's test site, expected by late December. And everyone's thinking the same thing. What if it fails like Booster 18? SpaceX thought of that too. December 4th, nighttime. A dedicated test tank called S39.1 undergoes a full cryogenic test lasting roughly 7 hours. Camera footage shows the frost line barely shrinking throughout the entire test. That's the sign engineers look for. Stable pressure, consistent temperature, no leaks. These test tanks use the same propellant tank geometry as the real ship. They're stress tested first, pushed to the limit, so the actual flight vehicle doesn't have to be the guinea pig. This is the difference between SpaceX and traditional programs. Traditional aerospace builds one vehicle, tests it carefully, and hopes it works. SpaceX builds a test article first, destroys it if necessary, learns from it, then builds the flight vehicle with confidence. The S39.1 test passing means Ship 39 will very likely pass too, unless some unrelated issue appears. Now here's where the story gets interesting. December 16th, Ship 39 is expected to complete its cryo test and head back into Gigabay 2 for engine installation. Not just any engines. 33 of the most powerful, most expensive methane engines on the planet. Then it rolls back out for static fire testing. And this time, the process moves faster because they don't need to bring it all the way to Launch Pad 1. No complicated mounting procedures. The OLM at Pad 1 is basically stripped down now, legs removed, infrastructure being cleared. If everything stays on track, Ship 39 gets its static fire in the last week of December or early January 2026. After that, final checkouts, payload integration, and FTS installation. Flight 12, window January 24th to 27th, 2026. That's barely different from the original timeline before Booster 18's incident. Think about that. A catastrophic explosion that destroyed an entire booster, and SpaceX is still hitting nearly the same launch window. That's not luck. That's having production capacity in reserve that nobody knew existed. But vehicles are only half the equation. Launch Pad 2 has been undergoing its own transformation. December 5th, 9th, and 10th, 3 full-scale deluge tests in 1 week. Most footage came from far away, making it hard to appreciate what's actually happening. But closer angles tell a different story. Water sprays reaching impressive heights, massive volume pouring from the nozzles. This system is being prepared for something significantly more powerful than before, because Flight 12 isn't using 33 Raptor 2 engines anymore. It's using 33 Raptor 3s. Super Heavy's liftoff force will be more than 22% stronger than previous flights. Remember Flight 1 in April 2023? 33. Raptor 1 engines produced around 7.5 million pounds of thrust. The result? A crater almost 9 meters deep. Rocks and metal debris launched hundreds of meters. Windows shattered on employee cars. Houses shook from 5 kilometers away. Elon called it thrilling. The cleanup crew called it a nightmare. The new Pad 2 design is built to handle this and more. Stronger OLM structure, water deluge spraying 7,000 gallons per second, a flame trench that channels all that destructive energy safely away. But on December 5th, SpaceX made an unusual move. They removed 2 massive hydraulic actuators from the Pad 2 chopsticks. The accumulators supporting those actuators were also removed the week before. This suggests earlier tower tests revealed something. Maybe insufficient push force, maybe slower response time, maybe uneven damping in the system. Whatever it was, SpaceX pulled the actuators for upgrades. They're at the Sanchez site right now, likely being replaced with higher flow, more stable, more precise units. They'll be reinstalled before Flight 12. And this is where the real question emerges. Will Flight 12 attempt both a booster catch and a ship catch? The dream scenario looks like this. Booster 19 returns 7 minutes after launch and drops straight into Mechazilla's arms. After cooling down from its insanely high post-flight temperature, it gets rolled back to Gigabay 1 for inspection. Later in the mission, Ship 39 comes down for its own landing attempt. If both catches work, SpaceX hits 2 historic milestones in one flight. First successful orbit with Block 3 and the first ever ship catch. It would be the kind of moment fans talk about for decades. But realistically, the chances on Flight 12 are low. This is the very first test of Block 3 design. Nobody knows what hidden risk might surface. Early Block 2 ships revealed major issues immediately. Resonance problems, leaks. Several vehicles exploded mid-air, triggering investigations and lawsuits. That's normal in rocket development, but SpaceX avoids unnecessary risk where possible. Even if Ship 39 performs flawlessly in orbit, landing could still go wrong. That's why ocean splashdown remains the safer choice for both vehicles. Booster 19 carries brand new upgrades, including that massive fuel transfer tube. It's the first booster flying with only 3 grid fins instead of 4. With so many new variables in one flight, sending it to the ocean protects the ground infrastructure. But here's what matters more than any single flight. While Booster 19 and Ship 39 race toward completion, something bigger is rising next to the megabays. Gigabay, the golden key to true mass production. Gigabay isn't just a larger megabay. It's a massive manufacturing complex with 24 dedicated work zones, directly connected to Star Factory through 6 enormous doors. That layout allows rings and major sections to move smoothly between facilities faster than anything SpaceX has done before. The first steel frame level is complete. Crews are installing the second level. Massive crane components just arrived. 4 self-lifting tower cranes that will climb higher as the building grows, eventually lifting the entire roof structure into place. When completed around late 2026, Gigabay will stand roughly 115 meters tall, about twice the height you see in current images, one of the largest industrial structures on Earth, and the tool that will enable SpaceX to produce thousands of Starships every single year. This is what the 9-day Booster 19 recovery really means. It's not just about one vehicle. It's proof that SpaceX's production system is already operating at a level most people didn't think was possible, and Gigabay will multiply that capacity exponentially. So what does this 9-day recovery really tell us? It reveals something most people missed. SpaceX has been building production capacity in the shadows, the kind of capacity that only becomes visible when disaster strikes and they need to move at maximum speed. Booster 18 exploding wasn't just a setback, it was a test, not of the hardware, but of the entire production system, and SpaceX passed. They proved they can compress months of work into days when necessary. They showed that their production line has reserves nobody knew existed. This matters because the moon missions are coming. Artemis 3 needs Starship HLS to land astronauts on the lunar surface. Orbital refueling demonstrations are scheduled for 2026. Mars transfer windows open in 2026 and 2028. Every delay in production delays all of this. But there won't be delays. Not with Gigabay rising. Not with this pace of production. We're watching the foundation being built for something unprecedented. Dozens of Starships heading to Mars. Moonbase Alpha becoming reality. Humanity becoming a multiplanetary species. And it starts with moments like this. A booster explodes. 9 days later, another one stands ready. That's the difference between dreaming about Mars and actually getting there. The future is closer than most people think. And if you want to witness every step of this journey, hit that subscribe button for Space Update 24 hours. Drop Go SpaceX in the comments if you're ready for what comes next. And share this video with anyone who still thinks getting to Mars is decades away, because at this pace, they're about to be proven very wrong.